From translation, TLB the Living Bible this 145 day of the year. Today we are reading passages Nehemiah 4-6, Nehemiah chapter 4, verses 1 to 23. But Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem the Arab heard about our work, and they laughed at us and despised us. What are you doing? They asked. Are you trying to rebel against the king? Then I sent messengers to reply, I am doing a great work and cannot come down. Why should the work stop just because I leave it for a moment to come and talk to you? They sent me the same message 4 times, and each time I gave them the same answer. Then Sanballat sent his assistant to me with the same message a 5th time, and his assistant had an open letter in his hand. This letter was written in the Aramaic language and said, A rumor has been circulated among the neighboring nations, and Geshem has mentioned it to me that you and the Jews are planning to rebel. That is why you are building the wall. In fact, according to this report, you are going to be their king. You have even appointed prophets in Jerusalem to proclaim about you. Judah has a king in Jerusalem. Now this report will get back to the king. So come, let's talk it over. I sent him this reply. Nothing you are saying has happened. You are just making it up in your mind. For they were all trying to frighten us, thinking they will become discouraged and stop the work. But I prayed, now strengthen my hands. But after I prayed to God, I posted a guard day and night to protect the city. Meanwhile the people in Judah were saying, the strength of the laborers is giving out, and there is so much rubble to clear away that we can't finish the wall. Our enemies were saying, before they know it or even see us, we will swoop down on them and kill them and end their work. The Jews who lived near our enemies came and told us 10 times over, wherever you turn, they will attack us. So I positioned armed men behind the lowest sections of the wall, near the open gates, and I stationed the people by families with their swords, spears, and bows. After I had looked everything over, I stood up and said to the nobles and officials and all the people, don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord who is great and awesome, and fight for your families, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your homes. When our enemies heard that we knew of their plans and that God had frustrated their plot, they all returned to their homes, thoroughly discouraged. From then on, only half my men worked while the other half stood guard with spears, shields, bows, and coats of mail. The leaders stood behind the people of Judah who were building the wall. The laborers had their tools in one hand and a weapon in the other, and each of the builders had his sword strapped to his side as he worked. But the man who sounded the trumpet stayed with me. Then I said to the nobles and officials and all the people, the work is widespread and spread out, and on the wall far apart from each other. Wherever you hear the trumpet, rally to us there. Our God will fight for us. So we continued the work with everyone half doing the labor and half standing guard with spears, shields, bows, and coats of mail. The leaders stood behind all the people of Judah who were building the wall. The laborers had their tools in one hand and a weapon in the other, and each of the builders had his sword strapped to his side as he worked. But the man who sounded the trumpet stayed with me, so neither I nor my brothers nor my guards nor the men who were with me took off our clothes. Even our servants stayed armed. Each man stayed at his post. Nehemiah chapter 5, verses 1 to 17. Then, as I was doing the work on the wall, a great outcry arose from the people and their wives, because those of high position were taking advantage of the poor. Some were saying, we have to mortgage our fields, vineyards, and homes to get grain during the famine. Others were saying, we have had to borrow money to pay the king's tax on our fields and vineyards. Even our children have been sold as slaves. Some of our daughters are already in slavery. But it is all for nothing, for we can't pay our debts, and our fields and vineyards now belong to others. Still others were saying, we have had to borrow money on our fields and vineyards to pay the king's tax. I was very angry when I heard their complaints and these words. After thinking it over, I spoke out against the nobles and officials. I told them, you are robbing your own people by charging interest. Then I called a public meeting to discuss the matter. I said to them, we are doing all we can to redeem our Jewish brothers who have sold themselves to pagan foreigners, but you are selling your own brothers, only to get them back again. Then they were silenced and could not reply. So I called the priests together and made them take a solemn oath to do as I had said. I also shook the folds of my robe and said, may God shake everyone, including this robe, who does not keep this promise. So may they be shaken out of their property and into it. The whole assembly responded, yes, we promise to do as you say. So I called the priests and made them take an oath that they would keep their promise. I also shook the folds of my robe and said, may God shake everyone, including this robe, who does not keep this promise. So may they be shaken out of their property and into it. And all the people said, Amen, and they praised the Lord, and the people did as they had promised. From the time I was appointed governor of Judah, in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes until his 32nd year, 12 years in all, neither I nor my officials ate the food supplied by the governor. The former governor before me had laid heavy burdens on the people, taking food and wine from them, besides 40 pieces of silver. Even his assistants took advantage of the people. But out of fear of God, I did not act that way. Instead, I devoted myself to the work on the wall. All my men were assembled there for the work. We did not acquire any land. Furthermore, 150 Jews and officials ate at my table, as did those who came to us from the surrounding nations. Each day 1 ox and 6 choice sheep were prepared for me, and also a large amount of wine. But I refused to claim the food allowance to which the governor was entitled, because the demands on the people were already so heavy. Remember me with favor, O my God, for all the good I have done for these people. Nehemiah chapter 6, verses 1 to 19. Now when Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem the Arab, and the rest of our enemies heard that I had finished rebuilding the wall and that no gaps remained, though at that time I had not yet hung the doors in the gates, Sanballat and Geshem sent me a message. Come, let us meet together in the villages of the Ono Valley, but they were plotting to harm me. So I sent messengers to say, I am doing a great work and cannot come down. Why should the work stop while I leave it to come down to you? 4 times they sent me the same message, and each time I gave them the same answer. Then Sanballat sent his aide to me with an open letter in his hand, which said, It is reported among the nations, and Geshem confirms this, that you and the Jews are plotting to rebel. This is the reason you are building the wall. According to this report, you are to become their king and have set up the prophets in Jerusalem to proclaim about you. Judah has a king in Jerusalem. Now this report will get back to the king. So come, let's talk it over. I sent him this reply, Nothing you are saying has happened, you are just making it up in your mind to frighten us. For they were all trying to frighten us, thinking they will become discouraged and stop the work. But I prayed, Now strengthen my hands. One day I went to the house of Shemaiah son of Deliah, the son of Mehetabel, who was confined to his home. He said, Let us meet together in the house of God, inside the temple, and let us close the temple doors because men are coming to kill you. They are coming to kill you tonight. But I replied, Should a man like me run away? Or should someone like me go into the temple to save his life? I will not go. I realized that God had not sent him, but that he had prophesied against me because Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. He had been hired to frighten me so that I would sin and thus get a bad reputation, in order that they could discredit me. Remember me with favor, my God, for what I have done for these people, and spare me from this sin. So the wall was completed on the 25th of Elul, in 52 days. When all our enemies heard about this, all the surrounding nations were afraid and lost their self-confidence, because they realized that this work had been done with the help of our God. Also in those days, the nobles of Judah sent many letters to Tobiah, and Tobiah's letters came back to them. For many in Judah were under oath to him, because he was son-in-law to Shechaniah son of Ara, and his son Jehohanan had married the daughter of Meshullam son of Berechiah. They kept telling me about Tobiah's good deeds, and then they would bring my words to him. Tobiah kept sending letters to frighten me.